Sarah Bietz works for the Department of Healthcare Services in Sacramento. Before that, she worked at Macy's and a job hunted for more than a year until she found her career. Sarah has been in Toastmasters since 2014 and continues to dedicate herself to mastering the art of public speaking and communication. Sarah Bietz, how to polish your interview skills, Sarah Bietz.
Hello everyone. So in this theory, Bina has now helped you polish your resume, you've got your foot in the door, and if you're like me, you've walked out of a lot of interviews feeling frustrated. For more than a year, I felt like I was answering questions for 30 minutes and walking out with him having no idea who I was or what I had to offer, regardless of anything that I was throwing at him. After a lot of reflection and a lot of failure, I realized that interviews actually fall into 3 basic categories of communication: small talk, sales pitches, and storytelling. You will find a handout underneath your agenda, so you don't have to take notes. You can take this home with you. Perfect. Thank you, Erica.
Thank you.
Thank you. Your small talk is like a preview to everyone you meet of what it's going to be like working with you Monday through Friday. You want everyone to see you as approachable and confident. You don't have to make it complicated. Smile. Deep breaths help you relax, help pull back your shoulders, and talk about the traffic, the weather, the local restaurants, because that's what you're going to talk about to your coworkers for the rest of your life. It's true. I made a connection with the security guard because, of course, I showed up 15 minutes early, and he pointed out the director as she walked by. It doesn't take much. Just smile and put yourself out there and say, "Hi, how are you?" Your small talk shows you're friendly. Your sales pitch shows you're qualified. Your sales pitch is your response to those typical interview questions. Vina showed us a couple. Tell me about yourself. What are your 3 greatest weaknesses? All of these questions are just your opportunity to sell your skills, your experience, and your personality. The success of your sales pitch depends on your preparation. Know your audience. You can research the company. Glassdoor.com is great. LinkedIn. When in doubt, just Google it. And analyze that job description. I like to make a list of all of the qualifications they're looking for. And then, if I'm really anxious, and I usually am, I actually make a list of common job interview questions. And then I write out my answers in full sentences, spotlighting those qualifications through my experience. It's not about memorizing my responses beforehand. I don't know what they're going to ask. But this is practice organizing my thoughts and plugging my talents. Because, again, you are selling your skills. Your resume gets you in the door. After that, forget it. Pretend they have never seen it before, because if they have, they probably don't remember. And especially in state and government jobs, they are actually scoring you on a point system. So anything on your resume doesn't count. You have to restate it and elaborate on it. Speaking of that point system, you also want to make sure you answer every part of their question. For example, if the question is, tell me about your skills and experience working with Microsoft Word and PowerPoint. That is actually 4 different questions. You're going to tell them your skills with Word, your experience with Word, your skills with PowerPoint, and your experience with PowerPoint. And I would lay it out very clearly so you were getting all of those points. Your sales pitch shows you're qualified. Your storytelling makes you memorable, because every candidate can walk in and go, "Hi, I'm a perfectionist and a hard worker." You'll just blur in with the crowd. But your storytelling, well, only you can tell the details of that massive project that you saved at the last minute by rallying your team and saving the day. For example, A question like, tell us about a mistake you made in the past and what you did to rectify it. There's my opportunity. I could say, while I was a teacher working in South Korea, I spent 2 months writing a project-based teaching curriculum and executing it in my classroom. It was for a contest between my whole district. 2 days before it was due, I realized I made a massive mistake in the written report that went with it. The panel wanted it organized by class period. I had done it by phase of the project. I knew there was no way they would even look at it if it wasn't done perfectly. So I used my notes, I powered through the weekend, and I got it turned in, corrected, reorganized, all 15 pages.
You're hired.
Thank you. I got it in on time, and they loved it so much, it won the grand prize. That's memorable, huh? Behavioral questions that start with phrases like, tell me about a time when, or describe an instance when you, or have you ever had to, are great opportunities to show off your storytelling and leave an impact on your interviewers. So that when you walk out of that room, they go, oh, that one candidate, you know, the person who did the thing in South Korea, I liked her. That's what you're going for. I would recommend, as Vina suggested earlier actually, creating a list of your projects, accomplishments, challenges you've overcome. It could be from your college days, your volunteer work, your church work, your career, and make the list, and then write out your story. Again, just to organize your thoughts. And the best way to do that is to use the STAR method. STAR method stands for situation, task, action, result. So my situation was as a teacher, having spent 2 months into this project, realizing I had a mistake. My task was to correct the mistake and get it turned in on time. My action was to spend the weekend with my notes, working hard. And my result was getting it on time and winning the prize. You can also pivot this if you have to. Results aren't always success, as how you failed, what you learned, and then I'd sneak in there your next success using that lesson learned. Write out your stories, complete sentences again, use that STAR method, add a tiny bit of drama, you know, the little polish, the little details that'll make it memorable. And then you can review it in the morning of your interview so everything is fresh and at the forefront of your mind. You can just tweak it to whatever their question is. Finally, as you get to the end of the interview, you get that dreaded question, do you have any questions for us? And your answer is yes, right? Of course. I mostly use this just to show how excited I am to work there and that I am dedicated to fitting in. So I will ask, oh, what's the culture like? What's your favorite part about working here? You can also ask when to expect to hear from them again. And then turn it on its head and ask them, do you have any questions for me? Because as you were talking and they were looking over your resume, maybe they want to clarify something. Once they're done, if I really want this job, and I usually do, let's face it, I say, well, that's great, I just want to say, and I make my last sales pitch. Anything left unsaid, and I'll tell them, I'm like, I'm going to make my last pitch to you, and I just say it. Keep it short, because they're expecting the interview to be over, so don't hold them there hostage. Then once you're done, say thank you, and get their contact information for that thank you email or letter. I'd recommend an email, which is probably the most common now, or a formal business letter, because it'll show off your writing skills. It also gives you that additional opportunity to clarify or expand on anything you said. And sometimes it can save your bacon, like it happened to me. In one interview, we had to do an exam in Excel. And as I did that exam, I knew my skills were not up to par. I struggled through that thing for half an hour, printed off what I had, I went in, I gave a great interview. I sent them a thank you letter saying, I'm really interested in this job, thank you so much for meeting with me, and I am polishing up on my Excel skills. I got a call back a few days later to interview, an invitation to interview for a different job in the same department, one that was better suited to my skills. That ended up being my new job. If you find yourself in an exam or an activity at a job interview and you know you're struggling, you don't know what to do, power through it, do the best you can, and then walk into that interview with confidence. Because even if that job is not the right fit, that job interview might still result in an opportunity that you haven't thought of yet. You also don't know how the other candidates are performing. And finally, you don't know for sure what the true purpose of that exam is. We had one candidate interviewing at my department. He walked out during the written exam. I know it looked intimidating. He was supposed to analyze some policy, but all they really wanted to know was if he could write a business letter. So don't give up. Power through, do your best. You are going to give job interviews throughout your career for promotions and different positions. Thankfully, it's a skill you can improve on with study and practice. Analyze that job description, research the company, write out your question answers and stories, have it all listed, and practice, practice, practice your small talk, your sales pitches, and your storytelling. Because those skills are going to help you in the job interview and in the career that it leads to. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah, and write those love notes. We call them love notes, but it's just, saying how she's doing her presentation. Was it good? Was it bad? Is there a way she can improve? It was excellent, of course. Outstanding.
So
I'll give you 1 minute.
Yes.
Do that.
Right now, 5 minutes.